You're listening to the official start of your NFL week. You're listening to the opening whistle. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the opening whistle. I'm Albanese.
I'm Avi Schiffman.
And tonight we're going to talk about playoffs. Who's got the best matchups? Who's got some strengths? Who's got some weaknesses? And who are some of the major teams that could miss the playoffs for the first time in a pretty long time? I guess we'll get started, and we're going to bookend this whole thing with two divisions that we don't have much to talk about because two teams basically won. We'll start in the AFC East with the New England Patriots. I mean, these guys have been on a tear. It's unbelievable. Brady misses the first 4 games, and they're still maybe the top team in the league.
But is that really surprising to you at all? Not at all. I said, as long as Brady and Belichick are there, nobody's beating them in the division. Nobody's taking them down.
And it's
until they are gone, nobody's taking them down.
And it's unbelievable when you see, Edelman hasn't been himself this year. He hasn't been a major force like he was last year. Gronkowski's been out. Bennett's been playing with injuries. They are rotating 3 running backs in their backfield, and they're still just killing it.
They find a way. They're a dynasty, you know? How can you deny it? They're like the Spurs of the NBA. They really are. Every year they're going to be there. They're going to win 12 games. Every year they're going to do that, and then you're not going to take them down. And it's hard. And it's hard to take them down in the playoffs because they're always going to have home field advantage. So, you know.
The first team in the league this year to clinch the bye for the first round. I mean, it seems like every year, if you hear anybody talking about sports, you're hearing the Patriots are one of the front runners to win the entire thing. We'll get into the other divisions and the playoff scenarios. Do you think there's a team in the AFC that can take them down in the playoffs?
There are actually a couple teams. Well, you have the Steelers who are getting hot now with that high-powered offense. Ravens, Ravens have had a good history against the Patriots in the playoffs. There's another team. Nobody in the AFC South, really. Even the Titans, who are getting hot, I don't see that happening with them going to New England and beating them. The Raiders, how can you take away the Raiders, the Chiefs? There's a lot of teams that could take down the Patriots. I mean, yeah. The AFC's pretty. There's a lot of good teams right now in the AFC.
I mean, we can go into this a little bit later when we talk about them, but I think out of everybody, the Chiefs may be the sneakiest team in the playoffs right now.
I hear that, but I don't know. I just don't have faith in Alex Smith. I don't know. I don't believe in him. They have a great defense, but Alex Smith I don't know. You saw what happened last year in the playoffs. They got beat pretty bad. And they're pretty much the same team as last year. They're really good, but I mean, you never know. Defense wins. That's what they say.
It's true.
It usually comes out on top, defense.
All right, so we'll move on to the AFC North now, which is probably one of the most interesting divisions in the league right now. The Steelers are on top right now at 9-5. The Ravens are 8-6, but the matchups are interesting. The Steelers play the Ravens this week, so that's a huge game. If Baltimore gets a big win,
right, we
get a tie, and I actually think that the Steelers have a complete advantage. They play the Browns in the last game of the season, which they're going to trounce them.
Right. Steelers win. They clinch, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They clinch the division.
Yep.
So where's that game? In Pittsburgh, right?
Yep.
All right. So I like Pittsburgh at home in that game, but that game's always a close game. Just like an NFC East battle. It's the same.
The Ravens defense, I mean, I think we've been, you've seen a couple of holes in them. I mean, the Jets, kind of exposed a little bit in their run game.
Surprised the Jets exposed anybody,
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. A lackluster team like that is exposing holes in their run game, and which is, look, this is coming from a Jets fan. I can sit here and talk all I want, but they're not a good team.
I don't know what to think of the Ravens. I really don't. Joe Flacco, he won a Super Bowl, but their defense, it's not the same as it was. They don't have Ray Lewis anymore. They don't have those big time, I don't know. Flacco, I just don't know what to think of them. I don't know what to think of them. This year, I don't know if they're any good. I don't know what they are. I really don't.
And you think about it, he's working with, Steve Smith, who was, for all intents and purposes, retiring at the end of last year, came back. He's having a good season, been playing with injuries. They're rotating running backs. Terrence West and Dixon are both, getting handfuls of runs. They're not playing the hot hand. I feel like that their offense just isn't what it needs to beat a team like the Steelers.
And Flacco's not consistent,
Never has been.
He's never been consistent. He's got a great arm, but he's not consistent. And I don't see them, I see Pittsburgh beating them at home. It's a big game. They're hot. Antonio Brown, nobody's going to stop him. And Le'Veon?
Bell's been playing. The guy's playing out of his mind. The guy's another guy. We talk about Brady, who missed the first 4 games of the season. Le'Veon Bell misses the first 3. And the guy's one of those guys who's in the MVP candidate. So you have a guy like Brady who's missed 4 games, a guy like Le'Veon Bell who's missed 3 games, and these guys are being looked at as some of the front runners for being MVP this year.
It's crazy. It's kind of like Beckham. Remember his rookie year when he came in there? He missed how many games? He missed 4 games, and he came in and tore up the league. It's crazy. These guys are freaks of nature. And you have listen, Pittsburgh, you have Big Ben. He won 2 Super Bowls. You can't take that away from him.
And Big Ben's great in these big games. I mean, I think we're looking at, it's a shame for a team like the Ravens who, if they don't beat the Steelers this week, are going to miss the playoffs. And they're going to have a good record and they're going to miss the playoffs.
I don't want to see them in there. They're a pretty boring team to me.
They are, but it's just a shame for the guys who were on that team that they busted their asses this year.
No, I hear that. It was a very good season for them. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach.
I agree.
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yeah.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we'll move to the South, which is probably we go from one of the cool a high power division to
Tom Savage.
Tom Savage,
right?
Oh my God, I can't believe
what a mistake, right?
how much money they pay this guy.
How much is he getting guaranteed? Like 30, 40 million?
30 or 40 million. Yeah, the guy's making an assload of money to now sit there with a clipboard.
You can't blame him. He got the money. But it looks bad right now. He was terrible all year.
Well, this is the one thing that a lot of people didn't think about a lot of experts were talking about that he was going to get a big contract. The Broncos wanted to bring him back, but playing with that great of a defense shows, what difference it makes to be a quarterback. Brock Osweiler doesn't have to do a lot. And you can even see with Trevor Siemian, we'll talk about the Broncos in a little bit, but Trevor Siemian didn't have to do a whole hell of a lot in order to
Broncos were
win
smart
these
here.
games.
Look, the Broncos look smart here. Look what they did, not paying him that money. Trevor Siemian, even the Broncos, it's going to be tough to see them miss the playoffs, which they're probably going to miss the playoffs. Who's in the wild cards right now?
It's Miami and the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the number 1 slot.
So they're going to have to get
2.
the 6th seed. They're going to have to get that 6th seed.
Yep.
So it's going to be between Denver and Miami. Is that what it comes down to?
Well, as of right now, the Ravens,
the Titans
the Ravens, the Titans.
Surprising a wild card might come out of the South.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty shocking.
The Ravens, the Titans, and the Broncos are all 8-6 right now. You have, the Titans. We're talking about the South anyway. The Titans have a pretty decent schedule. They play the Jaguars this week, and the Texans have to play the Bengals, which the Bengals can surprise everybody. And definitely, I don't even see this being...
What a disappointing team they are. Really disappointing.
With Andy Dalton, all the weapons with AJ Green, Jeremy Hill's been playing really well, and these guys just can't seem to get it together.
Yeah, and I cannot believe that Marvin Lewis still has a job after how many years has he been coaching?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's getting to Jeff Fisher territory, in my opinion. He's had. No, he hasn't. He hasn't won a playoff game.
Nope.
That's insane. How he still has a job.
I don't get it.
What is
either.
he doing that I don't get it. I don't get it.
What was Jeff Fisher and Gus Bradley doing either? At that point, and both of them got ousted this year.
This might be the year for Lewis.
It might be. But this division stacks up to be crazy. The Colts are at 7-7. They're only a game back, but they play the Raiders next week. The Texans play the Bengals, but the Titans play the Jags. And maybe the Jags could get an upset. You want to get a big win for your new coach. I don't see it. I think the Titans have the best schedule because the Titans and the Texans play Week 17, which is probably going to be for the division.
Out of that division, the scariest team is obviously the Titans. Marcus Mariota has been taking a big step up this year. They have a good running game. Their defense is playing well. They're a scary team.
And who would have thought in the beginning of the season that we'd be talking about the Titans in a playoff scenario and being a sneaky team?
I'm shocked.
I
thought they would be I thought they would have 4 wins this year. I'm really shocked. But Mariota, look what they're doing,
And
pretty impressive.
Look at the guys who we have. He's throwing the ball to Rashard Matthews, who's the top receiver. These guys. He's playing with a halfway decent receiver core,
and they have 2 good running backs.
It looks like Henry's getting a lot more of the goal line work now. He's getting a lot more work in, giving Murray a little bit of a rest. If they go and have a playoff push, Murray's legs could be a lot more rested than some of these other running backs. A guy like Le'Veon Bell, who's playing every snap.
Right. And I'm happy to see Mariota do well because he's seems like a good guy and he's playing really well. He could run also, which is he's a dual threat. So Titans are the team probably I would pick right now to win that division.
I gotta agree.
Okay, so
all right, so we'll move on to the AFC West, which here's a division that if you would have told me at the beginning of the year the Oakland Raiders would be in first place and they'd be 11-3, I would have laughed in your face.
I'm not that surprised. I picked the Raiders to make the playoffs as a wild card. I thought Denver would actually win the division, and Kansas City's, yeah. You know what? You're right. 11 wins is pretty, but Derek Carr, how good is he?
Guy's playing out of his mind.
He's got to play more. He's got to be more consistent. Also, he hasn't been that. He's got a potential to be great.
Well, there's another guy whose name's getting thrown into the MVP mix, and that's a guy who, at the beginning of the season, did you really expect to see somebody like Derek Carr in the same category as Tom Brady, as Le'Veon Bell, as Dak. I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott would be up there.
Even I didn't think that. No,
But
I thought Ezekiel Elliott would have this type of year. I did, but I thought Dak would be good, but not this good. Yeah.
Well, who would have thought that Dak Prescott at the beginning of the season would have even been starting?
Derek Carr's the true leader of this team, and you see how young he is and what he's doing with them. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, this is a
They're
really
a team.
good sign.
They're a team on the rise.
And this is a really good sign for the Raiders for the future too.
Oh yeah.
Another team we got to talk about though in this division is the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have these guys. I mean, even with the loss that they had to the Titans last week, this is a team that always seems to find a way to win.
Yeah, but that's a bad loss, losing the Titans at home. They came off 2 wins. They won, where is it, in Denver and in Atlanta.
Yep.
But you got to call them. You got to beat the Titans. That's the problem I have with the Chiefs. You got to be consistent. You got to beat the Titans. Are good, but you have to win at home. They're a dominant home team. The Chiefs. You have to beat the Titans in that game. So that's a reason I don't really believe in the Chiefs. Like I said, Alex Smith, I really don't trust him in a big game. So,
I mean, the guy's got weapons. He's got Travis Kelce. They have a solid running game. I mean, Spencer Ware hasn't been playing as well as he had been, and with the absence of Jamal Charles, I think a lot of people wrote off the Chiefs. Yeah. But they've played pretty damn well for what they had, and I mean,
and they have a really great coach in Andy Reid.
I agree,
but he hasn't gotten done. It seems like he always gets there. He's been to 5 championship games. He seems like he never gets it done in the big spot. He's a great coach though, but I don't know. Like I said, you need a quarterback to win also. Well, that's not true. Look at last year. Look at the Broncos. They didn't have a quarterback really, but they had the dominant defense.
I mean, do we think that the Chiefs' defense is anywhere near what the Broncos' defense was?
It's very good, but no, it's not at that level.
It's not that same caliber.
And like I said, Alex Smith, I just don't believe it. I don't believe in him.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about the Broncos in a little bit. We're going to go into the wild card right now, and we're going to talk about who's at the top and who we think are going to be the 2 teams that are going to make it. As of right now, the Miami Dolphins are 9-5. They have the Bills and the Patriots, which, I mean, those are 2 division games. Those are 2 games that they might not, the Bills are still a 7-7 team, theoretically are still in the hunt. They're definitely going to be playing.
Where's that game? Is that in Buffalo?
I gotta have to double check that. But
if it's at home, they really have to win that. Is Tannehill back? Is Tannehill back this week?
I am not sure. I don't think he is.
Okay. Well, Matt Moore looked pretty good. Well, they beat. They beat
the Jets.
So no offense, but yeah, they beat the Jets. So so if they're in Buffalo,
They're in Buffalo,
so that's a tough game. That's not an easy game at all.
And Rex Ryan's playing for his job right now.
And they're going to be playing for him also. I'm sure they love him as a coach. They're going to be playing for him. They're going to play tough. That's not a gimme game by any means. They could easily lose that game. And then they play the Patriots, who will probably be playing for nothing. But
I mean, this could be a scenario where if the Dolphins do beat the Bills, maybe the Patriots are resting some of their starters, getting ready for the playoff push. Maybe that could be the advantage for Miami. But even still, let's face it, Jimmy Garoppolo is no slouch.
Yeah.
And who are their lower end receivers? You figure Michael Floyd might be on the field at that point.
Right.
They're going to want to test him out and have him play for the playoffs.
Right.
And I mean,
good pickup, by the way.
I mean,
after you see that video?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Wow. But Malcolm Mitchell's been playing great too.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are the guys that they're backups, and they can still.
It's unbelievable what the Patriots do. Think about the receivers they've had over the years with really nothing. They had Randy Moss one year.
Yeah.
Who else? What other Pro Bowl receiver? Wes Welker? Yeah, he's a slot guy. Yeah, he's very good. But it's amazing what they've done without any receivers. It's amazing.
I mean, the team is just unbelievable, and their defense always seems to come up big when they need it.
Yeah, always.
So the Dolphins have a tough road ahead.
Do you know the scenarios, like who would take with the Broncos win and the Dolphins lose? Who would take the tiebreaker? Who's the I don't know the scenarios. But I feel like if the Dolphins lose and one of those win, they would have the. But I'm not sure about that. Well, a lot of teams in there.
The Chiefs right now are 10-4. They look like they should have this lockdown. They play the Broncos and they play the Chargers. Those are 2 winnable games for the Chiefs. They've already beaten the Broncos.
They're in Denver. They're in Denver.
But even as tough
Denver's
as that
playing
game
for
is,
something also.
As tough as that game is, I really think that with Andy Reid at the helm and the way that, the Broncos defense has been a little bit disappointing this year. Trevor Siemian hasn't been the guy that I think everybody thought he was going to be. I think everybody thought he was going to come out and just be a time management guy, get things done. But the Broncos running game is their problem.
So let me ask you, who do you take from these wildcard teams? Who do you think has the best chance of beating the Patriots? You can actually see beating the Patriots in New England in a playoff game.
There's only 2 teams that break out to me right now, and it's the Chiefs and the Titans.
Chiefs and the Titans. You think they can beat them in New England?
I think that I don't look. I'm going to be honest. I don't think anybody's going to beat the Patriots in New England.
Okay.
If you're going to talk about wild card teams that have the best chance, the Chiefs have a good defense. Randy Reid always comes up with a good game plan, and Alex Smith just seems to do enough to get things done sometimes. And let me tell you something. The Titans. I mean, we talked about them before. They're not a slouch. They're not. But
they don't have the experience either. You also don't know how Mariota is going to play in a big game. I don't try. You take Brady or Mariota in New England. Who are you going to take?
But I mean, if you take Brady and anybody else, who are you going to take?
Of course. But you know what? Like I like Alex Smith or so you're saying you take Alex Smith over Mariota against the New England? I'm saying you just think that they're a better team than the Chiefs.
They are.
Right.
They're a much better team.
It's a totally different scenario when you have Big Ben going there, or even Joe Flacco, who's done it before, who's won there. The Texans forget about it, and Andrew Luck even in the playoffs. He has, I wanted to see him take that step also, Andrew Luck. You think that he'd be at that point. You thought they were going to get to that Super Bowl already. But they don't have any protection for him.
Well, I mean, and plus that entire team's been riddled with injuries the entire season. I mean, it's been an awkward season for that team. Andrew Luck was out for a couple of games himself. So, I mean, I want to give them a pass for this season and see what they can do next year with the same talent around him. But I mean, that's a game that I would have loved to have seen. First round playoffs, Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady. That's interesting to me. Nothing here jumps out at me. I mean, name any team in the AFC that you think are going to put up a conceivable fight against the Patriots. Maybe the Raiders. Maybe
Steelers. Steelers could be Steelers, but I'd like to see the Raiders. They're an exciting team, but you don't know with them. But the Steelers, you would think that's going to be a great game. AFC Championship game, Steelers and Patriots.
If both of those teams make it there, I mean,
how many 6 combined Super Bowls between the quarterbacks?
That's gonna be fun to watch.
That would be fun to watch, but you really don't know. It's just about who's gonna. The Patriots are gonna win their first game. You'd have to assume they're gonna win their first game
against whoever it's
the
gonna win. The
championship game is gonna be in New England. Who's it gonna be? Who's gonna play them? We don't know.
Well, give it to me right now. Who are the teams that are making a wild card this year?
I don't want to take the. I don't know about the Dolphins. I just never liked. I don't know. It's just about the Dolphins. I just think they're going to screw it up and they're not going to make it. It's obviously the Chiefs or the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders, I think, we're going to win the division. So it's going to be the Chiefs. It's just going to be between the Broncos, Texans. I don't see. I think one team's coming out of the South. Okay, and then I don't know. Maybe the Broncos. Could there be 3 teams in the AFC West make it? It could be.
I mean,
they can make it. No,
there's the chance. I mean, you think the Broncos right now? They have the Chiefs.
I would pick right now.
Chiefs and the Raiders.
I'm going to go with all this. I'm going to take. Listen, I think the Broncos are going to beat the Chiefs. They have something to play for. They're going to beat the Chiefs. You know what? Why not? I'm going to go with the 3 teams making it out of the West and making it. And then you got the Steelers and you got the Titans. I think are going to take the division. And then Patriots. I think the Broncos are going to overtake the Dolphins. And those are my teams.
You know what?
And that would make it more exciting too. Then you have the Raiders, Chiefs, and Broncos in the playoffs.
I mean,
you don't see that often.
No, I would love.
Have you ever seen that?
Has that ever happened? So. I mean, maybe it has.
Maybe this year it can happen.
And that's it's a great story for that division.
Yeah,
and it's a great story for.
I mean, the Texans aren't. They're not 2 teams coming out of the South.
I see.
No.
Well, here's the
Texans
thing.
are done. I think the Texans are done.
The Texans have to beat the Bengals this week in order to even stay relevant. I think the Titans get the win. The Titans are probably getting the win over the Jaguars. Now, if the Titans play the Texans in that last game, they're up. The Texans are done. The Texans lose to the Bengals, they're going to be out of the playoffs. So I can't disagree with you, but I think that what we're kind of also forgetting is that the Ravens are still hanging around there at 8-6 too.
I know, but they're in Pittsburgh this week. I think they're going to lose this week, and it's going to take a big hit to their season. And then I think Denver's going to they're going to overtake the Ravens this week, and yeah, so the Titans are going to overtake. Titans are going to take the division lead. I think that the Bengals are going to beat the Titans. I think the Texans are done. I think they're done. They're just. What are they? Brock Osweiler's done. Tom Savage, I don't know.
Who is Tom Savage? You know what I mean?
Did he go to Rutgers?
We don't know.
Did he go to Rutgers?
He might have.
Or Pittsburgh or both. He went somewhere like that. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the 3. I'm thinking the Broncos are going to sneak in there over the Dolphins. Especially, I don't want to see the Dolphins in the playoffs.
Well, if we're talking about that, you talk about first round. What if Broncos and the Patriots? That might be the team to take down the Patriots.
Well, who's going to be that last wild card? Let's say the Broncos play the Steelers in the first round. That'd be a good game. Broncos at Steelers, and then you got the Chiefs and the
Raiders
and the AFC North winner.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, what it's going to really boil down to at this point is whatever team's going to play the Patriots are actually going to give them a little bit of a run. But if I'm picking a team out of the AFC East to go all the way, you can't go against the Patriots.
They were my preseason pick, the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's not a bold prediction by any means, but yeah, I mean, I don't see any team beating them. You know, if I had to pick one team, it would be Pittsburgh, but you know, it's going to be tough to beat them in New England. It's just every year. It's every year. The Patriots are at home in the playoffs. They get out bye. They get home field. Every year, it seems like. It is.
Well, I mean, their division has been proven to be a kind of a weak division. The Jets have taken a step back. The Bills and the Dolphins are both decent teams, but they're not good enough to overtake them. I mean, you were right. As long as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are together, it's going to be really hard for anybody to overtake the Patriots.
I agree.
All right, so let's move on to the NFC. Now, the NFC is where we have a lot of – I mean, if you would have told us at the beginning of the season some of these things would have happened, it would have been crazy. And we'll start off with the team that I think has surprised everybody more than everybody else, your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, they have surprised me a lot. Ezekiel Elliott has not surprised me, but what they're doing, it's – I don't want to pick my team. I don't want to pick them to win the Super Bowl because I just don't want to do that. But – I mean, if my heart tells me, my heart wants them to win, but my head tells me that they're not gonna win it. I hope they do. Listen, I can hope, I can believe, but listen, they've obviously been the best team this year, besides the Patriots. They've been the best team in the NFC for sure. And honestly, what team in the NFC scares me? Yeah, Seattle scares me, but listen, Dallas is gonna have home field advantage. Okay. They're not an amazing home team. They're not they don't have the best home field advantage, but they're going to have home field advantage. That matters. They're going to have to win 2 games to go to the Super Bowl. They're not going to have to play Seattle till the NFC Championship game. But there are teams in the NFC that do scare me, like Aaron Rodgers, who's sneaking around there. The Giants do scare me, but forget Eli. He's done. And the Lions, not really. Stafford, they haven't done it in the playoffs. And Atlanta's a pretty good team, but they haven't done it either in the playoffs. But I have no idea what's going to happen. I really don't know in the NFC.
I mean, to be completely honest, I think at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me that Tony Romo was going to fold, Dak Prescott was going to be the starting quarterback, and they were going to be a 12-2 team, the only 2 games they're going to lose was to the same team in the New York Giants. They were going to dominate almost every other team they played. I would have told you were absolutely crazy. But the thing about the Cowboys that scares me is we talked a little bit about inexperience when it came to Marcus Mariota. Their 2 top offensive weapons are rookies this year. And you're gonna tell me that a guy like Dak Prescott and a guy like Ezekiel Elliott are not gonna have butterflies in their stomach playing in their first playoff game?
I don't think so. They have it. I thought that from before the season. How is Ezekiel Elliott gonna get stopped? They have that offensive line still. What's gonna make him slow down? And I don't think anything. Their offensive line is by far the best. When he gets those holes, they're gone. You could see that the moment's not too big for them. Dak Prescott's done it before. And that's why I believe from the beginning of the season, I said if the Cowboys were winning, they had to keep Dak Prescott in. You could see it from the beginning. He had the it factor. You could see the moment was not too big for him. No moment was too big for him. Even that first game, they technically could have won that first game against the Giants. If Terrence Williams didn't get out of bounds, he could have won that game. But I have all the confidence in the world in Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and that offensive line. The defense, maybe not so much, but let's
talk about the defense a little bit. Do you think that's
they've played out of their minds this year?
But do you think that may be their weakness?
Yeah, that is their weakness. And also, what bothers me about the Cowboys is their head coach, Jason Garrett. I never liked him, but I don't know what to think of him. He's a puppet to Jerry Jones, just like anybody, like Derek Fisher with the Knicks when he was a puppet to Phil Jackson. I don't know what to think of him. I don't know what they're going to do. They're talking about Jerry Jones maybe putting Romo in for the playoffs, which is absurd. They're not going to do it.
Stupidest idea ever.
Jerry Jones does not stop about Tony Romo, which is fine. But and Dak Prescott, you could see, is getting annoyed by it. This is clearly his team. They won 12 games. All right. When was the last time the Cowboys went 12-2 with Romo? Never.
Never. And you know what? I mean, let's face it. We all know about Tony Romo's career in the playoffs. I mean, do you really want to take a guy who hasn't been on an NFL field in 14, 15 weeks and throw him in for the playoffs cold? I mean, that's the stupidest
Albert, you know
idea
how
ever.
much I love Romo. You know how much I love him. He's my guy. But even I said, Dak is winning. You keep him in the game. It sucks to see Tony sitting on the bench, and it sucks to see the Cowboys if they win the Super Bowl. If Romo sitting on the bench, that would suck. That would suck for me to see that. It would be terrible. See Romo win as a backup quarterback? It would be terrible. But listen, obviously I want the Cowboys to win, and they're clearly the best team. Seattle lost Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was a big loss to them.
Huge
and
hit.
They're not the same team on the road as they are at home. That gives me confidence also.
That 12th man is a big difference for them without it.
So, the Cowboys have to win 2 games at home to go to the Super Bowl. All right? They're going to have to win, whoever they're going to play. Giants, whoever it's going to be in the wild card. Giants. It all matters. I think it's going to be Cowboys in Seattle in the championship game. I really do. So we'll see who comes out of it there.
We'll go into the Giants a little bit later when we talk about the wild card because I'm thinking that, I'm pretty sure the Cowboys have this division on lock. The Giants play the Eagles and the Redskins. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we're figuring that they're going to wind up being a wild card team. So let's go into the NFC North, which, again, is a very interesting division, especially because we were just talking about the Cowboys. Cowboys play the Lions, who are 9-5, and the Packers are 8-6, and they get the Vikings. The Vikings, it's another team where, we're going to go into a little bit later about some of these big teams that are missing the playoffs. Man, did you ever think that, we'd be talking about the playoffs and we're not talking about the Vikings? We're talking about the Lions and the Packers battling it out. And the Lions have the best record in the division.
Yeah, the Lions they're probably the biggest surprise this year, wouldn't you think?
Matt Stafford's been playing unbelievable.
They have all their wins. I think 9 of their wins. They said every single fourth quarter they've been down in all those wins, which is incredible. I don't know what they think of that. Are they a good team? Are they a really good team? Or are they just, I don't know. Are they getting lucky? I don't know what they are.
To be honest with you,
I just don't know what they are.
I kind of feel the same way. But Stafford's had,
And their defense has been good.
Their defense has been
Very
good. And Stafford doesn't have the greatest weapons in the world.
No.
He's playing. They're playing really. I think they're a team
losing
that's
Megatron. It's amazing what he's doing. He should be in MVP talks.
And let's face it, Golden Tate was almost like he was taking the season off for the first 4
Marvin
weeks
Jones.
of the season. Marvin Jones was on fire, and then all of a sudden he faded out.
And they have Theo Riddick out of the backfield. He's been awesome.
Yeah, and even their other 2 guys, Zach Zenner and Washington, these guys do what they're supposed to do. And you have a guy like Theo Riddick who's a tool player, breaks out, catches passes. He's not the greatest runner in the world, but he's such a good addition in the backfield.
And their coach should be in the Coach of the Year talks, Jim Caldwell.
I completely agree.
Really, right?
This is the team that nobody would have even thought was going to make the playoffs, and they have the best. They have the best record in the NFC North.
Obviously, it's going to come down to the last game with the Packers and the Lions. I would think. The Cowboys, they're going to Dallas. I think the Cowboys are going to wrap it up. Well, if the Giants lose tonight, Cowboys clinch the 1 seed. So They're talking about, which I would love to see, talking about if they're not playing for anything, they should put in Romo to play, no? A little bit?
Maybe.
I don't want to risk Dak getting hurt. That would be terrible.
But now, okay. But now, here, we're going to get off.
Maybe play half. Maybe play a half. Maybe play a half.
What if Romo comes in and plays lights out?
No, so it doesn't mean anything.
Do you think that Jerry Jones is going to see that and think, hey?
Listen, he's the owner. He can do whatever he wants, but he does not have the, to put in Rome. I don't think he cannot do it. The fans will kill him. Everybody will kill him. He cannot do it. He knows. You really see that happening? Even if he plays lights out? No way. There's no way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I got to agree.
I don't believe it. I say, why not? Play Romo a half. We'll see what happens. If the Giants lose tonight, the Cowboys clinch the 1 seed. They have nothing to play for. You want to rest your guys. Well, I don't know. They say resting. Well, they're going to have a bye anyway.
Yeah.
But I say, why not play Romo? Get him in there. But listen, if he gets sacked and he gets, he's going to break another bone, so whatever.
A back, a collarbone.
Yeah.
It could be anything. So now what do you think that does for this division? You have the Lions are playing the Cowboys. The Packers are playing the Vikings. And then they play each other in the last game of the season.
I think that the Cowboys, they're going to be tied. They're going to be both 9-6, and it's going to be for the division. It's going to be the Sunday night, last game of the year for the division.
Who
and
comes
that
out on
game is
top?
in Detroit, right?
I'll double check for you.
I think it's in Detroit. The game. You know what? I have to go with Aaron Rodgers in that game over Stafford. Aaron Rodgers has been unbelievable in the last how many weeks? I'm going to go. Is the game in Detroit?
It's at Detroit.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers in a big game there. I would like to see the Lions in the playoffs. I want to see Stafford do it, but it's going to be tough.
They still have a good chance.
They have a chance at the wild card,
They
too.
do. They do.
Okay. So it'd be nice to see both of them, but I think the Packers are taking that division. You see Rodgers against Chicago? You see that throw he made? That was unbelievable. In 2 degrees.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that the Packers aren't the same team as they were. I think that Aaron Rodgers is playing great for what he has, but, Jordy Nelson's not the same. Randall Cobb hasn't been a factor, for weeks. Their number one running back is a guy who is a converted wide receiver in Ty Montgomery, and he's playing well, and they're all playing well. But in Detroit, the Lions are playing for the division. I'm going to go against you. I think the Lions will do it.
Yeah, I just think Rodgers in the dome. You know, he can run. He's good anywhere. Rodgers. He can
Absolutely.
play in any field, but he's just been on a tear. Aaron Rodgers, and I think that they would take it, but we don't know what's going to happen yet. But I think if it's for the division, I'm going to go with the Packers with Aaron Rodgers over Stafford.
Well, I'll kindly agree to disagree. I think the Lions actually might be the team coming out of the NFC North, but that's a great. So I mean, think about how many. That's two divisions right there. It's coming down to the last game of the season, and let's face it, Falcons and the Bucks in the NFC South. Here's another two teams that are right there. Falcons at 9-5, Bucks at 8-6. What do you see happening there?
I think that. Well, I don't know. Do you have the schedule of those two teams?
Well,
Coming up, Bucks.
the Falcons play the Panthers in the final game of the season,
Okay,
and
that's at Carolina.
I'm sorry.
No?
That's week 16. They play the Panthers. It's at Carolina.
Okay.
So I mean that's a very much a winnable game for the Falcons.
Matt Ryan's been so good this year, and Julio Jones. I don't know if he's healthy right now, but
Not completely, as far as I know.
their offense is probably one of the best in the league. It could be the best offense in the league with Devontae Freeman and this guy Taylor Gabriel.
Tyler Gabriel.
Tyler Gabriel. Oh,
Unbelievable.
and it's another weapon for them.
Yeah.
He's just like Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Where did that guy come from?
out of nowhere. Last game of the season at Atlanta, they play the Saints.
Okay.
And now, ironically, the Bucks play doing the exact opposite. They play the Saints and they play the Panthers.
Bucks are at the Saints in the last game.
No, the Falcons. The Saints are playing the Falcons in Atlanta,
Okay. Saints
the
are in
last game.
Atlanta in the last game.
and the Bucks play at home
Listen,
against the Panthers.
Drew Brees is in a dome too. You see what Drew Brees is still doing. It's unbelievable what he's still doing. You talk about Tom Brady. Look at Drew Brees, what he's doing.
I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
But they give the guy a defense.
the guy,
you know?
the guy's winning my. The reason I'm in the
He's
two fantasy football finals.
He's unbelievable.
He
you know?
really is. But there's another team that we're talking about that they're 6-8. They're probably missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable to think about the talent that's on that team.
Right.
But I mean, you're right. That's a team that's ripe for spoiling a season for either the Falcons or the Bucks, because as of right now, the Bucks are sitting third in the wild card. The Packers are sitting at number 2. We don't know what's going to go on with that division. The Lions,
So many. It's just you can't predict it.
a lot of scenarios.
So many teams. There's so many teams like so close together. You have no idea what's going to happen. But if I had to pick, I think the Falcons will take the South, and then maybe the Lions will get in as a wild card, that second wild card. Tampa, I don't know. I want to see them do it.
I kind of do too. Jameis Winston's playing so well. Mike Evans is one of the best receivers in the NFL
There's
right
just
now.
so many teams for one spot. You just you don't know. You have to see so many scenarios that can happen.
Well, you want to talk about one spot? Seattle Seahawks basically have the NFC West tied up right now.
And that's why I think the Cowboys are going to play the Seattle. Listen, the Cowboys have to win one game at home. Fine. And then Seattle's going to play at home. But they're dominant at home in the playoff. They're going to play at home. So they just have to win one game to go to the championship game. That's why I think. And honestly, do you see any team going into Seattle and beating them?
Here's the thing about Seattle.
Last year or 2 years ago, they got lucky against the Packers. Then Russell Wilson threw 4 interceptions, and they had an onside kick. Fine. But Seattle's really tough at home, especially in the playoffs.
I agree, but let's dissect Seattle a little bit. We have Russell Wilson, who's not 100%. He's not playing like he did last year.
But he's a different quarterback at home, also.
I completely
Than he is
agree.
on the road.
But look at his receiver core. Doug Baldwin went off. Was playing unbelievable, out of his mind for the last half of the season last year. He hasn't been the same guy. Jermaine Kearse, Tyler Lockett, these are guys that people were talking about. These are going to be breakout stars this year. They haven't really done as much as everybody thought. But while Tyler Lockett's coming on now, they're not. I mean, he doesn't have that great of a
Jimmy
receiver
Graham.
core. Jimmy
Waiting
Graham
for him,
is
what-
unbelievable.
what- yeah.
I mean, the guy's turning out to be the Russell Wilson's number 1 weapon.
Yeah.
But their backfield, how convoluted is their backfield? I mean, Thomas Rawls gets hurt. Now he's playing good. They get rid of Christian
They're
Michael.
a very flawed team also. They're very
CJ
flawed team,
Procise.
yeah.
I mean,
And Earl Thomas is a huge loss. Huge loss. to
well,
them.
I mean, the Seahawks have always been about their defense, the Legion of Boom. All that. That was their hype is.
You need every one of those guys in that defense, but Earl Thomas is
It's a huge loss.
They're all important in their own way, but that's a huge loss. Take any one of those guys, Cam Chancellor, any of those guys off that team, it's going to hurt them. And that's why I think the Cowboys, they're going to be at home if they play them also.
Yep.
And I trust them at home. We'll see. I just can't wait because I want to see the Cowboys. I said I don't want to go to the Super Bowl. I always said I want to see the Cowboys in the championship game. I haven't seen them in the championship game. I just want to see them getting that opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe this is the year. They need to win one game this year.
I mean,
At home.
I mean,
Please.
I think out of any team in the NFC, they're one of the teams that are at the top.
Do you think the Cowboys are coming out of the NFC? Just be honest. Just be honest.
We'll get into that later, but I mean, if I gun to my head right now, yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
All right, so let's break it down the wild card for the NFC. We got the Giants at 10-4. The Packers and the Bucks are both 8-6. The Redskins, the Vikings, the Saints, and the Panthers are all kind of in the mix. But let's face it, as of right now, it's the Giants. Whatever team doesn't come out of the NFC North and whatever team doesn't come out of the NFC South. What do you think is going to be our playoff scenario?
Well, I think Giants are in as the first wild card. And I said let's go with the Lions as the second wild card. Why not? Let's take away Tampa. Atlanta's going to win the South. Let's say the Lions get in. Well, actually, I don't know what I'm thinking because if they lose to the Cowboys and they lose to the Packers, they're probably not going to get in.
They're probably not going to get in.
That's true.
Okay.
So I mean, listen, they can beat the Cowboys. If they beat the Cowboys this week, that's a huge win. They're probably going to get in the playoffs. No,
absolutely. I think that
even if they lose the last game. Well, who would have the tiebreaker? Who won that first game? Packers and Lions. That game was in. I would think the Packers beat them.
I think
who won that game?
I think they did.
I'm curious who won that game. So it would be in Detroit. Who won that game in Green Bay? I think the Packers won.
I think they did. I'll double check it now.
So I would think that it's a tough game. The Cowboys always surprise me also. Listen, I thought that Tampa was going to give them a good fight. I thought they had a chance to win also. Especially after what
Packers did win.
Packers won.
34
okay,
to 27.
so they control their own destiny. So they're playing the Vikings this week. They're probably going to win at home. And then the Lions. Yeah, so it all depends on the Lions-Cowboys game this week. The Lions win, I think they're for sure in. They can even get the wild card if they lose the last game. But yeah, let's go with the Lions still. Sticking with the Lions as that second wild card.
Now that you kind of actually been breaking this down a little bit, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go a little bit different. I had kind of agreed with you.
Oh, we're forgetting the Redskins, but the
Redskins is 7-6-1. They play
that was a terrible loss.
But they play the Bears this week, which is a very winnable game.
Yeah, but you saw what the Bears did to the Packers. It was a close game. Matt Barkley's been pretty good, and they're in Chicago in that cold weather. It's not a gimme.
It's definitely not a gimme, but it is a winnable game for the Redskins. And then they play the Giants the last game of the season. I mean,
Yeah.
Once again, it's not an easy game. I to be honest with you, I think that the wild card team's going to wind up coming out of the South. I think the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to win, but I think the Bucks are actually going to they're going to sneak in. And you know what? Good for Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a winner. He's won in college, and it matters. Winning in college. I think it does matter going to the NFL when playing in big games. I think it makes a difference. Look at Marcus Mariota. He's playing in big games in college.
I agree.
Doing well now. The winners are always winners. You know what I mean? You winning college, except for some people like Carmelo Anthony, who want to carry his team, but he's done nothing in the NBA. But yeah, I like Jameis Winston. He's a winner, and their defense has been pretty good. But I don't know.
I don't know if I see them making it out of the first round, but it would.
I just think the Lions. Bucks are good. I don't know what to think of the Lions. I think the Lions are a better team than the Bucks. I don't know. I think the Lions will find a way to get in there.
I just think the Bucks actually have a better schedule.
Okay.
Playing the Saints and the Panthers.
Okay, I get that. And listen, and also, if the Giants lose tonight, the Cowboys have it locked up. So they're not going to be playing for much. So the Lions, that gives the Lions an advantage also.
I completely agree. If they do decide to rest some of their players, they start taking some guys out, and even in the second half, it's a huge, huge advantage for them.
Right. I'm just looking at score of the Giants game because I know they're down 14-3. But yeah, so Lions. Yeah. Well, what do we got? 14-6 Eagles.
Yep.
All right. But I hope the Giants lose so the Cowboys can clinch it already. But yeah, so if they lose, Lions, I give them the advantage. I wouldn't mind losing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. I'd like to go 14-2, but I just want everybody to be healthy going to the playoffs.
I hear you. I mean, I look. My Jets are obviously not. In
how do they? Is there any scenario where they can get in?
The Jets now they're completely.
Is there any scenario? No, I was
completely
joking.
limited.
I was joking. Yeah, they have no chance.
No, and they're gonna have to restructure that entire team. But that's
we should have a whole show on the Jets.
We can have about 17 shows on the Jets.
Oh God. Oh man.
All right, let's get into something that's a little bit more of a depressing scenario. This is one of those seasons that a lot of teams have come out of nowhere. But if I would have told you at the beginning of the year, the Denver Broncos the Minnesota Vikings, the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and quite possibly the Green Bay Packers all have chances of missing the playoffs. I mean, the Packers, it looks like they're going to get in. But the Broncos, the Vikings, the Saints, and the Panthers all really have...
Even the Steelers, they're not...
I mean...
They started off slow, right.
They did start off slow, but it looks like I think they're going to wind up making it.
Okay, yeah.
But, I mean, those 4 teams who are almost at this point, almost seemingly... I mean, the Broncos can definitely make it, but the Vikings, the Saints, and the Panthers are pretty much mathematically eliminated.
What happened to the Panthers, though? Did Josh Norman, was that such a big loss? Or was Cam Newton just like a fluke year where he had such an amazing year? He's a great quarterback, I think. I like him a lot. But what happened to them?
Here's a couple things I think that, and this is one of those things for a lot of teams. The Panthers come out and they played well last year. They were one of the better teams in the league, but they had a very hard schedule this year. And it's the same scenario where a lot of people were thinking the Jets were going to be a team that were going to repeat their magic from last year and make the playoffs this year, and they had a terrible schedule this year. A lot of teams that are on the cusp or are doing really well sometimes don't play good in their sophomore year. I think that's kind of where the Panthers kind of faltered.
Carolina also blew a lot of games this year. They blew a lot of big leads. They blew a lot of games this year. But, they had a big win. It says something to win in Washington when you're playing for nothing. This past Monday night, Cam Newton. I like Cam Newton. I think he's a big-time quarterback.
I completely agree.
It's just he played against a team in the Super Bowl that just their defense, they had they couldn't stop that D-line.
It's unbelievable.
So, and I said the Broncos, I think it matters. Listen, Peyton Manning, everybody said, any quarterback could have won the Super Bowl for that team. I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
Unless it's like Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger, big-time quarterback. I just think the Peyton Manning effect, just having Peyton Manning there, it meant something, right?
Yeah.
Would you believe that?
Everybody
said,
agree.
any quarterback could have won that Super Bowl for that team. I don't believe it. Ryan Fitzpatrick could not have won the Super Bowl for that team.
I don't think so at all.
Right?
Peyton Manning's a special kind of player.
Just having that Peyton Manning there.
Yeah.
It matters.
And as bad of a season as he had last year, the
and
guy is a clutch quarterback.
He is. He hasn't had the best. He's not been the best in the playoffs. I think he's like a 500 quarterback. I don't know what his record now is in the playoffs, but he's not Tom Brady in the playoffs.
No, absolutely
not. Did he even play well enough? Their defense carried that team, but
absolutely.
It mattered having Peyton Manning. I just really believe it.
Well, I mean, and then we can move on to the Saints. I mean, a guy like Drew Brees who plays out of his mind. How has the Saints organization not figured out that if you put a defense on that team, they are a Super Bowl team? Their offense is unbelievable. The guy's playing with guys that nobody heard of at the beginning of the year.
He's unbelievable. Yeah, Drew Brees is unbelievable. Where do you put Drew Brees all time? Where do you put him? Is he a top 10 quarterback all time?
Look, my personal opinion, I think
Probably.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he's a Super Bowl champion also.
I mean, you want to rattle off the names of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Tom Brady. Is Drew Brees number 2?
I think Bryce Petty might be number 2.
Don't you patronize me.
Sorry, I had to. Yeah, Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. Who are the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Always.
I mean, it's Brady.
And Roethlisberger is always up there.
Roethlisberger. I mean, you can make an argument this year for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
You can make an argument this year for Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
You can make it even.
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers
Obviously.
is always in that conversation.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's always in that conversation. Maybe not this year, but he's still in that conversation.
Dak Prescott looks pretty good. I'm not just saying it. Dak Prescott's up there.
And, I mean,
he's not top 5, but he's.
And how about the way Matt
good.
Ryan's played this year?
And Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson, you know, he's a winner. But
I mean, Drew Brees is always in that conversation. How is that organization just not put together?
It's kind of like
defense?
with the Colts, not getting Andrew Luck on offensive line. What are they thinking? They pay that guy, Andrew Luck would be fine taking a pay cut to give some, offensive line. Get some offensive linemen. Imagine what that team could be with he had an offensive line.
That is a playoff team right there.
It's kind of sad to see. Is Andrew Luck, you think he's going to take – every year he, made the first round, then they lost in the second round, they lost in the championship game. You thought he was going to make the Super Bowl by this point.
And I mean
that type of team.
I mean, it hurt a little bit that Dante Moncrief was out for a little while. I mean, their running back is
like 40 years old.
But
he's still awesome.
And he still plays well.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton is a monster. The guy has played unbelievable. But, I mean, without any protection, it's the same scenario as most teams that don't have any protection. They're not going to do well. It doesn't look like they're making the playoffs this year. That's another big team that, I didn't even include in there that isn't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Vikings, they started off 5-0. 5-0?
What a fall from grace.
But I believe also that their defense, they lost Peterson, but it didn't affect them it hit them towards the end of the year. They started feeling it, and Sam Bradford is Sam Bradford. I'm sorry, but
It's unbelievable.
He's not the guy.
Look at the way he played in the over those first couple of games. And look at the
He came back to earth. That's what he is, Sam Bradford.
I completely agree.
He's a below-average quarterback.
I mean, look at a guy like Stephon Diggs, who's probably one of the most talented receivers in the league, and he's saddled with a guy like Sam Bradford, who's not getting the ball to him, throwing picks every left and right.
Listen,
trying to force
Bridgewater
the ball.
was a big loss. They killed them.
I mean,
And now it looks like it did.
I think so.
They were a playoff team if Bridgewater was healthy.
I completely agree.
And Adrian Peterson coming back is a little too late.
I agree. I mean, they're 7-7 right now. They're the Packers and the Bears. I don't see them beating the Packers. Maybe they beat the Bears to keep an 8-8 at 500 record. And I mean, for a team that lost their starting quarterback and their starting running back, that's a pretty successful season for anybody else. But for the Vikings, you still would think they would have made the playoffs.
I agree. I think that Vikings. That's a team also. That was a Super Bowl contender, 5 weeks in. You think that they're the favorite to win the NFC.
I thought so.
Yeah, but then, they came back to earth. The injuries killed them. And Laquan Treadwell, I thought it was going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
He was a guy also, I don't know, he just hasn't played this year. He's done nothing.
It's unbelievable. Some of these guys aren't showing up. Their defense showed a lot of flaws. And that was supposed to be, kind of like the Broncos, where the Broncos, had that great defense. Maybe they wouldn't need Sam Bradford to, do as much. Maybe they wouldn't need to rest on Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata.
Right.
But their defense, there were so many flaws in that defense that nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, the Sam Bradford effect, it makes a difference. I really believe it.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. All right, so it's time for the final predictions. Super Bowl, who are the teams?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I have to go with the Patriots in the AFC. Just, my head tells me the Patriots. It's going to be the Patriots. And I want to see, I said it from when the Cowboys are, I think Cowboys and Patriots. It's going to be the Super Bowl. That might be the highest rated Super Bowl that we might have ever seen. I think so. The Cowboys have been this year. The Cowboys, one of America's team, and then another America's team. It'd be pretty good. Oh, man, I would love to see be the Patriots. Oh, my God.
I'll put you on the hot seat. Who wins that game?
I mean, I have to go with the Cowboys if it's the Super Bowl. I have to go with the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. I have to. Look at them this year. They have flaws, but they've been the best team, I think, all year. Dak Prescott's he's been amazing. And listen, there's never been a rookie quarterback to win the Super Bowl. There's a first for everything. This is the time. Maybe this is the time. I'm going with the Cowboys, even though I don't want to take them, but I'll pick them.
Well,
you're not going the Cowboys.
I want to be different than you.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, I don't see a scenario where it can be. I think the Cowboys are playing out of their minds. I think that if you talk to anybody who is from New York and they're a Giants fan, they're going to tell you that the Cowboys are going to crumble in the playoffs, and I think that's wishful thinking.
It's different. It's a different, listen, I hate to say it, but Romo not there, it's different. Dak Prescott's just been pretty perfect this year. He's been pretty flawless this year as a quarterback.
Well, going with the AFC, I honestly do not believe, and as a Jets fan, it pains me to say this, that there's any team that's going to knock the Patriots out of the Super Bowl. Barring Tom Brady breaking his leg or, Bill Belichick having a stroke on the sidelines, nobody is stopping the New England Patriots.
And imagine the headlines for going to the Cowboys-Patriots Super Bowl. Him being suspended the first 4 games, Roger Goodell maybe giving him the Lombardi Trophy, handing it off to Tom Brady. Imagine what that would be like for Brady. Oh, my gosh, what he would feel like to give that Super Bowl trophy.
Is that that's giant middle finger?
Oh, can you imagine that?
Everybody that,
imagine that image. Out. It'd be like,
I would, here's the thing. I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Jets fan, so I'm conditioned to hate Tom Brady, but I respect the player that he is. And after everything that's gone on with that team, I would love to see Roger Goodell's face handing the Super Bowl trophy to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, where they both have giant smiles on their face, and this guy's eating the biggest amount of crow. I am not a fan of Roger Goodell. I do not think he is the right guy to be in charge of this league, and that's a scenario that, as much as it would pain me to see the Patriots win a Super Bowl, would be a great image.
You know that Roger Goodell is going to want the Cowboys to win that game. He wants to hand it off to Dak Prescott, to the rookie. I'm sure he would be rooting against the Patriots in that scenario, especially Tom Brady. He does not want to have to do that. I don't care how much money the guy makes. He's got, that's his job to do, but he does not want to do that.
I completely agree.
He'll look like a fool also,
But when it all boils down, and I really put my thinking cap on, and I think Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots, Super Bowl. And I think neutral zone game. Nobody's got home field advantage. It's in Houston.
The Super Bowl's in Houston.
But I know. I mean, it's still a neutral site.
It'd be pretty. Listen, this would be the first team probably playing their own state in the Super Bowl.
I think it might be.
It never happened in their own stadium, but in their own state. Imagine that.
I mean, you give the Cowboys a little bit of a home field advantage there, but still, it's still a neutral site.
Right.
I honestly believe.
And remember, the moment is not going to be too big. I don't like throughout the playoffs for Dak and Zeke. You have to believe that already. With these guys.
I hate to agree with you in a way, but I do. I think that if we're going to go into the Super Bowl, it's going to be Cowboys and Patriots. I think everybody is going to count the Cowboys out. I think that the Patriots have been such a high-powered team for such a long time, but I honestly think that everybody's going to sit there, look at the Cowboys as, they get two rookies. They're not going to do anything. And I think they're going to change everybody's mind.
What would be the spread in that game? That's like such an evenly matched game. Could it be like a pick-em? That could be a pick-em. It could be.
But is it?
It could be.
Think about the way Las Vegas is going to look at that.
That's true.
Tom Brady versus two rookies.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think the Patriots.
That's good for the Cowboys. I think they're the underdog. I think a lot of people will go Cowboys.
I think people are picking probably. I mean, in my opinion,
no idea.
if I really look at it and really look at it objectively, Patriots are 7-point favorites. Maybe
7. Wow, that's a lot.
I
don't know.
Maybe
about
not.
that.
Maybe 3
not giving
point.
the Cowboys enough credit.
Maybe 3-point favorites.
Okay.
Maybe 3-point favorites. I think the Patriots are favored in that game.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
But when it boils down to it, I think the Cowboys have something to prove this year.
Listen,
I think
these have been the two best. These have been the two best teams all year.
And if this is going to be the game that it comes down to, this is the game you want to see.
And it should be the Super Bowl.
Cowboys
better get there.
I completely agree. So, I mean, we're in agreement. I think, we both think the Cowboys could be the team to do it all this year.
I hope so. I hope this is right. I just want it to be the playoffs already. I can't wait. It's going to be like 4 weeks until I see the Cowboys in the playoffs. If they're bye. 1, 2, 4 weeks. It's going to be a month. So it's going to be a lot of agonizing and waiting. So I can't wait for that.
Well, I think you have to buckle down and get ready because I think you're going to definitely see the Cowboys in the playoffs. It looks like you're going to see them in a championship game. You could see them in the Super Bowl. And playing the Patriots, like I said, it's no gimme. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game on both ends. But I think it's going to be probably one of the best Super Bowls in Super Bowl history.
I think it's going to be the highest rated Super Bowl ever, if that's what it is. Think about all the headline storylines for that game. Man.
It's going to be unbelievable.
Especially Romo, even though he's not going to play. Romo being there, Cowboys can win without Romo. Imagine Romo on the sideline in the Super Bowl, watching them play. Oh, God.
At least he gets a ring, right?
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not.
All right, well, there we have it. Both of us picking the Cowboys to take it all the way this year. It's going to be an interesting playoff season. I mean, you never know. There could be a lot of upsets, but this is going to be a great playoff season to watch. So this is it for the opening whistle. I'm Albert Albanese.
I'm Avi Schiffman.
And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to the opening whistle, which is a part of the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. You can find us on Twitter @the Slam Sessions. We'll see you guys next time.